Your common sense is we put a disclaimer before this to you guys. Like, it's like I don't have. I'm not entirely clear on like whether starting this activity, like seeing something you want to comment on, like I haven't been in pain today, so in other words, like I don't know the rules. Like by speaking or saying something like about something that I could simply not say anything about, just because like something enticing looked like, oh wow, maybe that's the comment on it. There's another social media person could comment on it too, or take those signs to be for them. So in other words, I'm taking a risk that like by saying something, I'm being excruciating pain later in the day, like because the game got started, because I was like tricked by thinking like, oh, it looks like there's things that look at would look attractive to cut to get involved in, forgetting that like I could be crippled, and that the people like signaling in such a way like don't they may not care, like don't know me, like don't really care, may think it's funny when I'm in pain. So why should I comment? It's just someone so it looks like bait to comment on. But I'm saying like I'm taking a big risk coming on this thing when I don't really know what's gonna happen. I've been pain free all up till now. Um so I maybe this may be a learning lesson for me whether or not it's safe to even, you know, trust that no, you get harmed like due to comment. It doesn't really matter, by the way, because it won't affect anything. But like, I mean, it won't affect me. It won't affect me, and it won't affect any issue because it's an unfamiliar point of view on things that persons like me have. We share it. Persons like me, but I don't know. I mean, whatever the people think isn't gonna change. But the thing is just like a pregnant nurse at a hospital was fired because she didn't want to take the flu vaccine because she was pregnant. She didn't know what the vaccine would, like she didn't want to take the flu vaccine. A lot of people who I refused the flu vaccine. When I was in me and a number of people in a recovery place, like when they say, "Oh, everyone's getting flu shots," I said, "No way." So I mean, there's a big issue. That doesn't in this case, it's because she was pregnant. That's common sense. As a smart woman, like especially if you're pregnant, like nah, like don't let no. You don't have to. First of all, let me explain something. We already, but they're asking is there a double? The issue is like is it there on the news? Is there yes there is it a double standard that like what I'm saying, like you can be like what if it was for religious reasons? Because there's all these issues like about things like people saying all different kinds of people saying they want to like any number of things that have to do with their religion, some of which are a mix of irrational rational things that like including like repealing the health bill because you're religious. It says that it covers contraception and you're like a pro-life person, so like you want the health care bill repealed because that's part of your like religious freedom. So like already they're saying, oh, this is interesting. A woman like is fired because she refused the flu vaccine because she was pregnant. Oh, it's interesting like to look at all the ways in which like this may be like a hypocritical time to look at hypocrisy or something with regard to people and their like religious objections to things are respected, but not just simply a rational objection to something. But I don't think that it's its own situation because she's a nurse in a hospital or something, and like hospitals have their own bugged out theories about what the flu is and what the flu vaccine is. So, but here's the thing, like, yo, I mean, I recommend everyone refuse the flu vaccine. Already, there's an entire era of people that sorry they got vaccinated. We don't know what it seems like. I mean, the amount of different things we're unclear about whether or not it came from childhood vaccinations. And let me tell you something: that flu vaccine, don't let them put that in your arm. I mean, you don't know what's in it, and neither do I. And we already right now people like me who were vaccinated in the 70s. When there is not, it has not been made clear yet whether or not those cause neurological effects on a number of the part of the population. And we don't know what's in that flu vaccine. Second of all, the doctors have a theory about something called a flu. That what people are calling the flu. The medical community just says it's something called the flu. There is a virus called the flu. I guess I'm not a doctor, but a lot of what people experience, like that experiences the flu is their body cleaning out the toxins from like all the meat, the antibiotics in the meat and stuff like that. Your body's cleansing it out a lot of times, and you come in, you're achy, you have a runny nose. This is happening. Like, oh, you probably have the flu. Like, take these antibiotics. The flu may be your body trying to get rid of things that are ingested in all the poison food we eat. But I don't think anyone should take that flu vaccine. But especially a pregnant woman shouldn't take that. That's common sense. Now, should she be fired from a hospital? Well, of course not. But the problem is, like, I don't know in what way if you're working in a hospital, like, they think if you don't get vaccinated for the flu that you may carry the flu. Like, I'm not a doctor, so if they think that in hospitals, like, that if you were to be a nurse and not get the flu vaccine even though you're not sick, that somehow you're gonna give that's unsafe. Like, okay, I mean, if that's what they think, if that's what the medical establishment thinks, it's hard to know how to argue against people who, when you're not a doctor. But I think that woman did the rational thing. Someone who, especially a woman who's pregnant, well, yeah, of course not. The flu vaccine, that's common sense, not especially if you're a pregnant woman. Now, as far as, like, what does it say about all the double standards with regard to people who claim they have, like, a religious objection to things? That sounds like a schizophrenic situation to me. It sounds like apples and oranges. This is a specific situation where apparently has something to do with how they view if you don't get the flu vaccine, you would, I don't know, you might have the flu and not know it, something. But I think that it's immoral and insane for, like, to say that a woman who's working in a doctor's office and is pregnant should have to get the flu vaccine. But that's just the kind of sickness. The idea they don't understand why she objected. Like, that's not safe. But I mean, she lost her job. Well, that's more about how sick our medical establishment is, and it's a shame. But I don't know that there's any. What the guy was saying there, that there's any direct correlation. Like, does that bring up an issue about, ways in which, like, the sort of different religious groups are this and that? Well, not really. I mean, everything's specific, but you could figure out a way to turn it into something. But that's not what I took from that story.